Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Insights and Innovation series, and welcome to a very, very special one today. We have, I will describe, unless please indulge me here, I will describe somewhat of media royalty. She's a friend of probably a lot of us. I know our careers have crisscrossed throughout the years. Um, she is the managing director of CREATALYTICS, and it is an absolute a groundbreaking tool that she's going to be sharing about how you can make the most of your campaigns and how important creativity is with it. It's specializing in uncovering the hidden levels of a campaign's effectiveness. And she'll talk you through all of the wonderful details, but it's about making campaigns work and work better. And it's all through engagement. Lisa, I'm going to hand over to you before I make that introduction even worse than what it is. But I'm going to hand over to you to eloquently walk our members through all about Creatalytics. Over to you.
Uh, Thanks, Sam, and to the IMAA team, and to all of you for joining the call, giving up some of your precious time on what I'm sure is a first Monday in spring that's all really busy for you. Look, I'm hoping that we can have a short, sharp session today and that you can indulge me with a little bit of participation. And so, nothing too hard, nothing too onerous. I'm hoping that you might just put your reactions to the test for me. If you are from a creative or full service agency, do you think that you could give me a smiley face or a thumbs up or a love heart? Okay, yeah, cool. And how about now from media agencies? I've got a few reactions there. All right, fab. Thank you. That just gives me a little bit of context as we go through the session today. What I'm hoping you can do, rather than sitting back and relaxing, is indulge me a little bit further with a bit more participation. And if we can do an imagination exercise, I'm hoping that you can follow the instruction on the screen and imagine cutting your campaign impact in half. Yeah, you heard that correct. Imagine cutting your campaign impact in half. I'm sure that quite a few of you are probably struggling with the whole notion of it because you don't want to cut campaign impact in half. You want to double it, right? But actually, that's what's happening, despite what I imagine is everyone on this call and their best efforts when they're developing and delivering campaigns in market. Because no doubt they're cracking brilliant strategies. They're in the trading team and they're nailing those negotiations. Then the planning team are working super hard to introduce those media firsts. And then, as a whole team collectively, I'm sure that you are optimizing those plans like a pro, expertly tuning bid strategies, target audiences, all to get great results for your client. But when it's all said and done, I'm sure despite those actions, you've all had that experience where the plan didn't perform. That's a scary place to be, right? No matter what you've done, it hasn't delivered the business outcomes you were looking for. So, what's going on? I want to welcome you to media's biggest blind spot. Now, Sam kind of let the cat out of the bag a wee bit because it is creative. Now, my intent today isn't to ignite a war between media and creative, I promise you, because neither works in isolation. They only work in unison and they work amazingly when they speak really well to one another. The problem is lots of us are in this blind spot because no one's really talking about creative. And let me size that up for you. Essentially, almost 70% of advertisers and their agencies are actually minimizing their campaign impact, potentially by up to half. How are they doing that? because creative and media aren't talking. They're creating and placing magnificent ads without them being fit for platform, marketing science, or task. And when those things are absent, it means that your campaign impact is going to decrease. And that could be up to 60%. It depends what channel you're operating in, whether it's video or out of home. It all varies, but up to 60%. Now, those are really big numbers to talk about in terms of where campaign impact is being lost. So the flip of that is that it's an amazing opportunity to start thinking about it, to reframe things, to drive better outcomes for clients. Now, it's not just because I'm talking about it and I'm saying it so. I've actually got the evidence to prove it. I'm going to start with the top 10 drivers that come from Accelero, a data consultancy that's been looking at advertising profitability for the last 15 years. Consistently, they've shown what actually drives advertising profitability and to what extent. So if we think about the experience that I just went through in terms of all of the effort that you're expiring from a media perspective, and we look at the order with which they appear, you can see that the media levers are many, yet they drive less profitability when it comes to comparing it to creative. It's the single largest lever available to advertisers and agency, and currently its potential is completely untapped. There are a couple of reasons for that. First, potential isn't being exploited around creative because of the way we think about it. And it's wrapped into this one word. Creative is the single largest lever. When you think back to the media levers, there were lots of them. They've been decomposed. But we still think about creative as just one magical force, rather than it being decomposed into a range of different things. I want you to actually start thinking about creative in binary terms. That is, of course, creative quality. That's about the idea. And that's what creative agencies are brilliant at delivering. That's where they're highly skilled. And that is a significant factor, but it's not the only factor that can have an impact on campaigns and media plans. The one where the real rubber hits the road is in creative execution. What I'm talking about here is how creative and its idea actually works with media and how it's consumed. When it's executed well, it's fit for platform. It can do its job within the bounds of the environment it appears in. And that's the opportunity that is actually optimizable when it comes to creative. I want to give you some more evidence to back that up. I'm sure that you've all heard, spoken about, and experienced one size fits all creative. Now, I want to show you what happens if you use one size fits all creative that might be designed for, in this case, linear TV, and you place it in other channels that it wasn't designed for. This is what happens. You lose impact. In this case, retained branded recognition has fallen away in the other channels, being in-feed or social and skippable, and an impact gap has opened. And when it opens, it's actually eroding your performance. So everything you're doing in a media setting, and it's downsizing your ROI. Not because the idea isn't good, but because the creative execution doesn't fit the platform. Now, I'm sure for some of you, this might be where it's getting a little bit uncomfortable, because this is the second reason impact is being lost, because people don't want to have a conversation about creative. Many people in media feel that you almost need a superpower to start that conversation and to influence creative, because these conversations can feel tricky, subjective, they can maybe be a bit political, especially if you don't have the right tools, largely because they're subjective. And I'm here to give you some good news, that there is an objective way that you can have those conversations, and that's with CREATALYTICS. What we describe ourselves is that we operate as your creative analyst. That means that we offer practical, data-backed frameworks to inform both creative conversations and optimizations, along with media plans, and we do that objectively. We do it without the headcount. That means that we operate without placing undue pressure on your scarce resources or by adding any more responsibility to your already busy jobs. So it's with this approach that we take that we're delivering super powerful results. I'm going to talk through some of the results that we're seeing. First of all, at a channel level, we have proven to deliver a boost in out-of-home performance by 11%, supercharging video by 58%, and then slashing meta CPAs by 50%. Those are big results. Those are big optimizations that are currently out of the realms of possibility given the incremental media optimizations that you have at your fingertips, but not with Creatalytics. I've talked a little bit about at a channel level, but really what we all want to see is great outcomes for our clients where we see improved ROI. Often we have to do that with, I hate to say it, but reduced media spend or the same media spend and the expectation of bigger results. What we're doing on the right-hand side of this graph is having a look at conversion change year on year with different types of campaign circumstances. Some with less media, some with more media, and some with the same media. On the very right-hand side of this, we're actually having a look at what happens with creative optimization. So if I bring up the columns now, you can see in the pink where we've got media-only changes, we've actually got negative growth. That doesn't mean that media isn't doing everything it possibly can. It just means that it's operating with an arm tied behind its back. When we have a look at creative optimization being introduced on both less media or the same media spend, we can see that double-digit growth is unlocked. These are massive shifts, super powerful shifts that are occurring with the introduction of a new way to think about optimization. Now, like I said, talking about creative can feel like you need a superpower or a cape to protect you. But actually, there are 3 things that we do that we want to share with you that you can start thinking about. And that's what makes what we do repeatable. We look at 3 elements of executional creative effectiveness. We're looking at understanding, first of all, is creative fit for platform? So does the creative match how people engage with the channel? Second, we look at how you can flight for impact. That's about prioritizing and flighting the creative that has the most impact. More often than not, you've got a number of executions at your disposal to optimize around. We can help there. The third element is about fixing execution. That's about making small but critical fixes that close the gap between wasted spend and full impact. So I've talked enough for the moment. I want to see if you've got any of those superpowers as well. So I'm going to run a little experiment. I'm going to share 3 great ads, and I'm going to ask you to grab a bit of paper and write down which of them you think fits skippable the best, which fits forced view the best, and which fits linear the best. We've already done the analysis on these ads, so we've matched each of them to the right platform. Is everybody ready? Someone give me a thumbs up. Brilliant,
Ready.
thank you. All right, here we go.
Increase power.
Bicep frequency identical.
Expensive power and cheap power, they're identical.
Initiate audio test.
Same energy, probably cheaper.
Okay.
How are you guys?
Are you okay?
Yes?
What's the matter with him? He's got bad neck. Carl, this is Sammy.
Hi.
He's here to install some fibre to help with...
That.
Fibre. It's our internet now.
Hi, I'm Tina from Turner's, and you know what I love? Cars! Big ones, tiny ones, uncomfortable ones. I love them all. Not that one. It is a bit sad when they leave, but it's pretty cool when new ones turn up out of the blue. If you're keen to sell your car, book it online, drive on over. We tell you what it's worth, and boom, money in the bank. You might even find something you like that crazy thing. Beep, beep.
Okay, so this question wasn't about whether you like the ads or whether you think that they're good. It's about what their executional fit is. So if they're fit for a skippable platform, a forced view platform, or a linear platform. I'm hoping that everybody has taken the time to note down what they think. Okay, well, let me share which one fits which platform. Frank Energy is best suited for forced view. It does some great stuff around bringing the branding early, but in terms of its delivery and its scoring, of the three, it's most suited to forced view. Chorus, which is about promoting the uptake of fibre, is best suited to linear, in most part because its story arc is linear. It leaves the payoff to the very end along with its branding. And then Turner's is the best fit for skippable, primarily because it's got lots of distinctive assets, it's using early branding, and it delivers the same message in a singular-minded fashion repeatedly. Each of those ads is using a different range of techniques to fit the platform. And essentially, that's what we do when we use the CREATALYTICS tool. We can assess creative to understand which platform it best fits for, but also the amount of impact it might have. Now, all of those brands came out of the New Zealand market, so I wanted to share a brand and a little story about them who you'll all be familiar with. It's the Big M, the Golden Arches. Everybody's familiar with the brand because they invest a considerable amount every year, both in media and in creative development. So you'd think that based on that expenditure level, that they would have every asset in their portfolio as a top performer, that it's fit for platform. I mean, that's what you'd think, right? Well, that's what we thought when we did the work, but actually we were wrong. We took 30 of their ads and we plotted them based on impact against our database average and our benchmark, which is the top 20%. So anything on the right-hand side has more impact versus the left-hand side. And this is what we're talking about, understanding the impact of a piece of creative has, because if you know it, you can then put more money behind it. And that breaks down two actions. Once you understand what your impact gap is or isn't, you can optimize or prioritize media spend behind it. And that's how we can support media agencies as well. The third and final component of what we do is we look at fixing the execution, and that's, the optimization bucket on the left-hand side. So I'm going to share an example now for the outdoor channel. Now, this has been anonymized and sketched up to basically give you a sense of a before and an after. So fundamentally, we've got an execution that came to us in concept form. We used the tool to understand across over 160 different metrics its impact and platform fit, along with marketing science and tactical fit. It returns a result that gives us not only a score, but also actionable insights that then can be applied to close the impact gap. So if this is the before, I want to now show you the after. What we've done is applied more than 10 different optimizations to provide greater visibility and impact for an outdoor execution. The things that were optimized were focused on giving the message and call to action greater simplicity, resetting the hierarchy of the message, decluttering and adding greater contrast so you can actually see what you need to see, and so the eye is guided. And then finally, bumping up the contrast to ensure that, again, visibility is aided. So you might not be able to tell every single optimization, but they are small tweaks that make a big difference and have enhanced the outdoor outcome by 11% year on year. So that gives you a little flavour for what we believe is maybe media's best kept secret optimization that you can deploy at your fingertips. We've got a lot more to tell you if you're interested in the platform. So if you're interested in understanding how you can get more out of your media and reducing wasted impact, then by all means, give us a call and we can help be your creative analyst without the headcount by doing 3 things: making it fit for platform so you can fly it for impact, and execution can be fixed. There is an IMAA deal, so I'm sure that there's an opportunity to help some of you in getting better results for your clients.
Lisa, thank you. Members, there is an IMAA deal for it. It's in the IMAA deal section. If you haven't got it, just reach out to myself or the team and we'll send it to you. If you want Lisa's details, we've got all that and we can connect you to her and the deal. So just yell out. That was fantastic. It all makes perfect sense. It's always the creators' problems. We know that. So it makes sense that we make it work harder, not better. So thank you so much, Lisa, for your insights and sharing that with us. Thank you, members, for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another webinar. And if you have if you want to get connected, just let us know and we'll do so. We'll see you soon at the events around the grounds. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.